Good morning, people on the internet. How's everybody today? We don't have a chat box for some reason. Oh, there it goes. Just lagging a little bit. Okay, nice. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Kevin R. Reth, good morning. Shrimp Father, Nathan, good morning. John, who else? Raj D, good morning. Would you now? Stephen, good morning. Wick Central, good morning. 10 Talon, Bearded Printer, Stephen Machado, Da Vinci 10, good morning, good morning. How's everyone? It's a little crazy out there today. Maurice, okay. Maurice, good morning. Yeah, as I learn names and can associate with your aliases, it makes it a little easier. I'll go with Maurice, thanks. Skyrim, good morning. TJL, good morning. Oh, it's time for a little emergency fuel. I haven't been sleeping well lately. So back on the legacy fork today, trying to get things wrapped up. It's been a little bit nuts. My schedule is not friendly to streaming right now whatsoever. So I'm a little bit out of practice. Haven't done this stuff in, what, 2 weeks since we last seen each other? Wonder why I haven't been sleeping well? Yeah, I'm sure you could take a guess. Need some more energy? I do, yeah. That's what we got right here. I tell you, the brain is firing. I'm ready to go, get to work on this thing, but I have a feeling today's going to be a little frustrating. So counting on the team to get us through the day. Good morning, Palm. Yeah, you guys want to take a look at where we are and kind of do a little bit of a recap? I had to refresh my own brain yesterday just to understand and get back into it. When you take 2 weeks away from a project, it's a little difficult to remember where you left off. I'm terrible at writing things down, and so I had to go back and watch the stream to know where we got stuck. So I can do it. That's right. I can do it. Okay. So let's take a look at the project. So we know that it's kind of been in the same state here as far as build for a while. So everything is done. I'm leaving off the plate so that we don't scratch it. But I can share this with you. So we're able to do this. Isn't that cool? Get it moving and homing. AFM, good morning. Yeah, so it homes X, Y, and Z, which is great. That also means that we have firmware working properly. So the base stock stuff is working just fine. Where I ran into a little bit of an issue was with the clicky probe. So I can dock just fine. Installing clickies pretty simple. You just kind of follow through. But if I click the macro for docking, it'll dock it just fine, and then I get an error. So that's kind of where we are. This is the error I see. And you'll notice that it talks about just being probe attach failed. So that tells me that when the clicky connects, the probe is not able to detect that it is connected. So the probe is still showing triggered when it should not be. And so that's one of the things that we need to fix. The other one is up here on the tool head. So we are using the Nighthawk 36 on the back of the LGX Lite. And when I heat things up, so let me just put the hot end to 60. You might be able to hear it, but you can definitely see it that the hot end fan is spinning. Okay. So let's make this quiet again, turn that off. But one thing I'm running into is that my part fans are not spinning. So if I turn on my part fan, I'm getting nothing. So the sound you're hearing is still the hot end fan. It got a little hot. It kept warming up a little bit before it shut down. So that's still on right now, but my part fans are not on. I am using the correct pin. Colors are crazy. Thanks. Hey, Boothie. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Stuart. And so I don't know if that's a problem with the Nighthawk board, but it doesn't want to spin the fans. And I can't tell if it's the fans themselves. I would imagine that both fans can't be bad. But when I put a multimeter on the pins of the Nighthawk, I wasn't registering any voltage going to the part cooling fans. Get the hammer. How about a karate chop? Does that make it work? Yeah, so that hot end fan just turned off so I can actually hear myself. But yeah, these are on 100% and they're not turning. I don't know why. They're definitely 24 volt fans. They should not be 12 volt fans. We'll double check real quick. I didn't want to get too far down the rabbit hole without sharing with you guys what we're working on. But I wanted to be honest about the trouble that we're running into. I think it took me 2 weeks ago when we tried to get firmware loaded. I couldn't. And yeah, these are 24 volt GDS time fans. No issues there. But I couldn't get the firmware going. And I didn't fully understand what was going on with that. So I wiped everything. 5 hours later, long story short, 5 hours later, we got it working. But then I had to rebuild all of the firmware from scratch for the M5P plus the Nighthawk, plus some of the customized selections that we made. So did all that. Fought through the GT 1.5 things and stuff. Got input shaper going. So we'll take a look at that and show you what the graphs look like. So these are initial graphs. I haven't spent really any time playing with this except for getting an initial look. And this is the x-axis. Not terrible. We get this weird second peak over here. The hot end is not the most stable. It is wobbly as I touch it. It's cinched down. I think it's just a function of using linear rods, 8mm linear rods. They're not going to be the most stable. And, you know, like Nathan was saying, this is not meant to be a speed demon. It's meant to be normal speed, prints well, that kind of thing. So fighting through it. Wrath, to answer your question, yes, the pins are correct. We'll go through it really quickly. Use Nighthawk 36 for this test. Yes, I did use Nighthawk 36. That's the only 80XL on the printer is the Nighthawk. So that's the X. It's a little weird. It's okay. And then for Y, it's a little bit worse. A lot bit worse. But again, this is the initial run just to have something to show you guys for today, for like a baseline before we tighten belts or tension things or adjust things. This is what I'm looking at. For the salad eating fund. Thanks for that. I appreciate you. Thanks for the $5. Let's go through the pins to alleviate any questions about that. So you can see I've been in here quite a bit. And as I look at the fan section, so this is the fan. So Nighthawk, And then GPIO 6 is the pin. X and Y are pointing to toolhead and umbilical. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too, Rhett, just based on what I saw. Thanks for confirming. I was going to message you later and ask you that question as well. But yeah. Input shaper on Y. Sorry. Is also messy on yours. Yeah. I just think that has to do with the nature of how it's built and the mechanical limitations of using long linear rods. They're probably at the max of where you would want them to be as they start to sag just a touch in the center. So not every printer is going to be perfect. You're not going to have amazing input shaper graphs on every single printer you build. Kickstart. We could try it. We could try Kickstart. I don't know that that matters though. Kickstart, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Kickstart is, it gets the fan started, in this example, a half a second before you need it. But we can try that. Physical pins. You mean, are they plugged into the correct location? Is that what you're talking about, Reth? They're definitely plugged into the correct location. The fan jumper is set to 24 volts, and the positive is to positive, the negative is to negative, all that stuff. I went through and I checked it for sure yesterday. Checked the printer config as well. GPIO 6 seems to be correct. I just don't know why. And so I'm about to just swap the board over to a different Nighthawk to see if that's an issue. Good morning, CyberTech. Well, let's see if this Kickstart thing does anything for us. Nothing. So two big issues going on. One is the clicky probe. The other is the part fan. So kind of over to the hive mind. Where do you think we should begin, guys? Should we just do swap out the Nighthawk, which will take a little bit? I don't know what to do about the fans. But I'll take any suggestions. We can also go through it too. Maybe I'm just not looking. Can I plug in 24 volt direct to the fans and check they're okay? Clicky bad, no clicky. That's the only option on this design though. I would love to use a beacon or a cartographer on it. It might be possible, but there's the keep out zone above the sensor on the cartographer and the beacon. That keep out zone interferes with the bearing on the linear rod on the x-axis. So yeah, so that's the other option. Reth has a good point. We could just plug in another fan and try that out. I do have a spare fan, so we could try that. Try external DC. Yeah, I wish I had a worktop power supply like that. I just don't. So I think Rhett's idea is probably the best one. We'll try a different fan here. Just hate that these are really tiny connections. There's no broken wires. Things are crimped solidly. Manually trip the pins. What do you mean manually trip the pins on the Nighthawk? Swap the polarity of the fan pins. Oh, and burn them up? Yeah, I could do that. Let's see if I can get a camera in here closer and show you. I know you don't want to see my face right now, but I need to see what's going on. So the way that the pinout is And it's probably easier to show you this. So as we go to the Nighthawk, and take a look at the JPEG. So our part fan is here. GPIO 6 is correct. And you'll see that the negative is on top, the positive is on bottom. That's exactly what I have going. There's also a part cooling fan voltage selector over here on the left. And it's in the upper position, which indicates it's getting 24 volt. The part fan on the left is also the same pin. It also has the negative up top. Everything is set up that way. And like I said earlier, what I was able to do is take a multimeter and touch the two pins to see if it was providing 24 volts, and it was not. So I'm inclined to believe that the board has something going on where it's not providing power. Just jumped in and missed what's wrong. Oh, sorry. Bypass clicky. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, so what's going on with clicky is that it is connecting. I can pick up the probe, but when it picks up the probe, it doesn't connect the circuit. So it still appears triggered or open when it should be closed. And so it's just not, it's not triggering. So clicky is connected right now, and I can show you what I'm talking about if it makes a little bit more sense here. So right now it's showing triggered on the probe. And if I manually press the, so clicky is attached. If I manually press it on the printer and refresh, it's still showing triggered when it shouldn't. And that's what I'm running into. So two kind of things going on there. I don't know why. So what I think I will do, actually, let's get you, which view do you like better, this one or this one? I think maybe this one. It's a little better because we have more light. And so what I'm going to do is I've already disconnected that fan on this side. Got another one down here. We may have to repin this to fit, but I've got a spare 24 volt GDS time fan. Just need to swap the pin over. Sounding like a Nighthawk problem? Yeah, I think so. Hey, good morning, Jeff. Good morning, LTX. Thanks for the panel. So LTX made us a custom rear panel for this machine, and it'll be here Wednesday. Hopefully. Things happen, and I don't always get my stuff on time. But regardless, it should be here before next week's stream. Man, my brain is not working. We have to swap the pin for a smaller one. Still waking up, folks. Still waking up. Even though I've been up for hours and hours. So I guess maybe I'm not just waking up. I am trying to make my brain work. All right, so I've got a spare pin there, and I've got some crimps. I think these are right. Yeah, those are correct. I just got this spare container full of like extra pins and stuff that are just left over from different builds. And I'm reluctant to just toss it, but it's coming in handy today. Let's do that. We need this guy and this guy. You just finished breakfast and now you feel fatter. No 24 volt and probe tripped. Odds are not looking good for the board. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I've got it set to the 5 volt probe pin, and I'm using the ground and signal pins as the trigger. And so I don't know why it's not working, but it uses a Trident panel. Yes, it uses a Trident panel because it's a Trident frame. So all of the panels will be Trident panels. The only real difference between this and a Trident is the gantry, which is all internal. So it's a Trident 250. And so as I was, getting in and getting settled last night, I was thinking about maybe we should do a 250 V2 as well.
Thanks for the sub.
Hey, Steve. Good morning. Thanks for being a member for 5 whole months. We're going to raid over to you when we wrap up today. So we're going to watch Steve build a stealth changer, or I guess finish up. You're pretty close to being done, Steve. We are chasing down Nighthawk issues today on this stream. So for some reason, my part cooling fans are not working. And my clicky probe is also not working. Invert the signal pin and clipper config for clicky. Does it flip-flop? You mean by putting an exclamation point on it? Is that what you mean, John? Good morning, don't knock it. Usually it would be like a pull-up on the probe. It wouldn't be an inversion. Yes? Okay. I mean, we'll try it. I don't think that's going to work, but we could try it. It won't break anything. Okay, so we said negative goes on top. And to be sure, I'm going to look at the direction on the board for which way this gets connected to make sure our connector is oriented properly. So just connecting the negative and the positive. And again, this is just to test out to make sure it's not the fan. I really do believe it is the board. Something's going on where the 24 volt is not getting to the fan itself. All right, so that is connected. New fan is in. Let's sit this someplace safe so that we can watch that happen or not. Change clicky pin to GPIO 3 and see if it, oh, that's a good idea. We'll try that out. I want to do everything possible to not swap the board because that would be a waste of $45 if we got a bad board. And it's just weird because everything else on the board is working. It's literally the probe and the fans. All right, so part fans are still at 100%. And that guy is not spinning. So he is not spinning whatsoever. Shaggy, yes, it is a Nighthawk. And so neither of the fans are working. We just put a brand new fan on it. It's still not working. So let's try what John was saying. So if I go to the probe section, come in here, I think the pull-up goes here. You measured voltage on the board. AFM, I did. We put a multimeter on it. I was getting 0 voltage. We'll do it again for posterity. So let's try to trigger that manually. Still not triggering there. Never used one before, EBB 36. Yeah, I mean, it's the same concept, Shaggy. It's just...
Thanks for the sub.
It's just a USB version instead of a CAN bus. Hey, Liz. Good morning. Thanks for being a member for 2 whole months. Time for tacos? It'll be time for tacos in about 2 hours. As soon as I kick you guys over to Steve to stream, he's going to take you off into the sunset as I take myself and the girls to go get tacos. Hot in gets hot? Yes. Did I restart Clipper? Yes. We could do it again. I thought I restarted. Kind of hard to remember. Yeah, that's the weird thing, Cybertech. Everything works except the fans and the probe. All right, so we just restarted. Let me check out our... Keep hitting the wrong thing. It's weird that the end stops are in the tune menu on Fluid. So as I click the probe and then refresh, it's not working. Yeah, so just weird electrical problems going on, and I don't understand what it's about. And so I'm wondering if like the magnets aren't touching all the way. I'm trying to hold the probe in the spot where the magnets are, like, I know the magnets are touching, and it's still not working. So maybe we have to use the filament sensor. Trying to reach and stretch. Yeah, it's not triggering. But even if we did use the filament sensor to trigger clicky, we still would not have part cooling fans. So what I'm going to do for you all is we're going to break out a multimeter, and I will put that on the fan and see what happens. Plus, I get to show you a really cool thing that I just got. If you short the magnets manually, what do I get? Short the magnets manually. Stupid question. Is there a possibility a solder nub is hitting the extruder motor? That's not a silly question. I mean, is it possible? No. No, it's not possible. There's enough of a gap. Let's slide this around. Let's see if you can tell if I do that and then do that. I think you can tell that there's enough of a gap because we're using a Vitali bracket. This is the bracket right here, and then the board is maybe 5 millimeters away. So there's no possibility of that being the case. I mean, let's, just in case, I'll tell you what, I'm willing to try anything. Let's experiment today. This is a problem-solving stream, right? So let's see if we can solve a problem here while still getting you guys a good view of what's going on. It's just a little difficult. Ooh, one thing I did do, I forgot to show you this. If you short the magnets manually, what do you get? I am not sure. I have to do that real quick. If no contact, it is an A5T. And thanks for liking the colors. Yeah, we're going with a Taco Bell theme because it's silly. And I think we were just talking about Taco Bell or something, and someone mentioned that I should use a Taco Bell theme because I was asking questions about a theme, and so that's what we did. Community-driven decision here. All right, so I'm going to move this off just to satisfy all things. Oh, sorry, getting texts. All right, let's move these to a safe place so I don't drop them. Right here sounds good. All right, so the board is definitely pulled away from the mount. There should be no pins touching anything at this point. We still have the brand new fan plugged in, and yeah, there's no pinched wires. There's nothing touching anything to be able to short to. Just checking all my angles here. Everything looks good. X end stop is triggered. That makes sense because our tool head is all the way to the left. Okay. So I have those, and we are still not triggering on the X. I don't know what's going on with that. So we'll get the multimeter out, see if we got continuity. Oh man. Did you guys see that? Like the lights? I thought we were about to lose power there for a second. Ooh. It's a weird time of year. There's like snow in the mountains where all the power lines come from. And then there's like heat down here. So it's like 85 today. Let's see. Taco Bell's amazing. Always get the beefy nacho grillers. I have not heard of those. I'll have to check it out. Your favorite? Where do you get from there normally? If I go there, which is not often, what I will normally get is a what do they call it? They used to call it the fresco soft taco. So like a chicken, just a basic chicken taco with some lettuce and tomato on it, and maybe a little bit of cheese. But I like normal tacos. We'll go maybe once every 3 months or something when the girls want something different and dirty. Okay. Let's see. Let me break out this multimeter. So I've got my giant one up here. This is what I was troubleshooting with yesterday and 2 weeks ago. But in the meantime, I had since received a really cool piece of kit that I like quite a lot. And let's see if we can show it off to you guys. It's called Solder. So I got this thing. This comes in this sweet carry case. And I don't have a ton of bench space, but I'll do my best to move the printer out of the way for a second. And then move the other camera down for a second. Get this out of the way. And I'll show you this really cool kit I got. So super great case. It's got a lot of MOLLE straps on it to attach things and stuff. And there's even D-rings for a shoulder strap. Up top, you could put spare things and stuff. It came with this cool little soldering project. I'll get to it. Came with a little soldering iron and some flux. And then there's pockets for all this stuff that I didn't close when I was building this yesterday. Regardless, underneath is the whole actual thing. So we'll get rid of this for a second. Your Keurig died before first cup of coffee? Oh no. I'm gonna get some of these. Not sponsored. You have Taco Bell and Taco John. I've never heard of a Taco John. Not been in 3 years. Fast food in your town is risky. It's not a bad thing. Taco Bell is one of those guilty pleasures that we'll do maybe once or twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. I don't go often. Anyway, so this is all 3D printed all the way around. Steel up top, steel on the bottom, and it's just essentially a big case. It's got these locks on the side, so you unlock here and here, which allows the arm to swing out. And so that serves as the back stand portion for the top to fold out. Isn't that cool? And all of these little attachments and brackets are 3D printed. They use, here's some spare 6x3 magnets. And so everything is magnetic. So the top plate, back plate, and all of the other pieces are magnetic on sort of like a Gridfinity type system. It's got this fan that can fold out with a light on it. It's got a light. I can turn on to remove fumes. It's a USB battery inside that is rechargeable. So you just plug in a USB-C and it recharges. There's snippers here, recharging cable, a little bit of solder. This is meant to put flux inside. And if I could take this apart, here we go. You're supposed to like squirt flux inside here and then use this as a plunger. Remove the cap, install the nozzle, use this as a plunger to put solder paste. I just don't like the idea of that. So I didn't do it, but it is here. Probably the coolest part is this little attachment that holds 2 sets of tweezers, and then there's also a knife in here. So you get this little knife in here that folds out, and it's more of a scalpel than a knife, but that's kind of cool. And I just like how everything is compact and organized. Organization is a thing I struggle with, and this keeps it really organized. There's a few extra solder tips down here as well for the soldering iron that is located here. So this kind of flips up, and there's a magnetic, I guess, stand for it. So you can put that like that. And then there's room to put a bucket here so that you can, so inside here is a brass brush with, and this is a silicone cover on top, but the brass brush has a slot where you can clean your iron. And it stays out of the way. So this is just a rechargeable soldering iron here. Yeah, super cool little kit. This is like a wire stripper. That's all magnetic. Attaches to the grid like everything else. Super cool little bit of kit. And yeah, it's all 3D printed. So this is carbon fiber PETG, and then this is just normal PETG Ryobi green color. Regardless, it does have a multimeter. So we'll pull our multimeter out. You've seen this thing by looking at your station. It looks kind of small. This, yeah, I mean, compared to my hand, it's very small, very compact. You've seen it. We'll break the crap out of that. It's nice, but you operate in chaos. Mike, I don't doubt it. Knowing how much you solder, you probably have a full professional station. I don't. I'm looking for compact, able to be put away. I don't do a ton of soldering. I do light duty stuff like building 3D printers or whatever. I don't solder boards and things. This is probably good for most of what we do. But I charged this up yesterday. Let's see if it turns on. I don't know how to operate this thing. $20 Amazon special. I don't know. I assume since you do it for work that you had like a full setup. But these kind of store behind the mount. It's just a very small travel station. This is probably like $5 for this little thing. But I like it. It's much more compact than the large one that I have. Okay. So anyway, enough screwing around. Let's see if this works. I don't hear any noise. It's just a USB-C, like a Pinecil. Correct. Nothing, but it's not making any noise. Shouldn't it make noise? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with this. I'm not familiar with this one. Auto, AC, DC. I thought this was a continuity. And it looks like it is, I guess. but it's like all over the place. You could solder with a lighter and a nail if you have to. Not rechargeable. No, there's a small cell battery, coin cell battery here, a CR2032, I believe, that plugs in right here. Yeah, what I don't know is, like, I thought it would make noise. It says it should, but it doesn't. Happy to know you're putting your box of goodie parts to good. Nice, dude. I'm glad that you asked about that stuff. You helped me out by getting it off my plate. All right, well, let's see if this works. So we have our case out. Let me move this out of the way. All right, that'll be fine over there. I know that the fan is still on at 100%. Bring the printer back in. May have to move this camera a little bit more again. Enough showing off my toys. I could probably move this out of the way. I don't think that's tight yet. Good. All right, so here, right? I can see the pins on the Nighthawk and the fan. And if I try to put this somewhere that I can see it. Ooh, great idea. Slide it under these belts here to hold it. Okay. And then we'll go negative to negative, positive to positive on the fan. Again, this fan should be at 100%. Try to do this so we don't block it. I'm not getting any voltage out of that. I don't know if you could see that on the gauge, but there's nothing that I'm picking up off of those pins. And likewise, if we try the other side, I don't know why the range is all over the place here. It's like not steady at all. Tell you what, I don't really trust this thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to use it. Let's get my other one out. Big Johnny over here. Had this one since, man, years and years. This is what I use working on cars. But I like it because I can just clip it onto things. Assume you've checked the fan. Yes, it is 24 volt. There's a small jumper right here. And that is in the upper position up that way. And it is not putting out stuff. That was one of my first checks because I thought I was silly as well. But even so, it should put out 5 volts. And it doesn't. Yeah, so there's no voltage coming out of there at all. And no voltage out of that one either. So I don't know what's going on with it, but it's not putting out 24 volt. Picked up I don't even know how to say those words. Oscilloscope multimeter. Isn't there one for the part fan? Yes, Steve. So part fan is the one here next to the part fan connection. The hot end fan is above it right there. And that one is also set to 24 volt. Part fan works just fine. Hot end fan works just fine. Part fan, no worky. So that's what we're trying to fix right now. I'll try to zoom in here. Let's see if we can do this. Get you in really nice and tight. So you can see this jumper is for the hot end fan, and that's set to 24 volt. There's another jumper between these two connections for the part cooling fan, and that one is in 24 volts. So it's in the upper position, this one here. Hot end fan is also 24. V plus at the jumper for voltage selection. We could try it. So showing what's going on. So 0, go negative to the positive of the jumper. Jumper is showing nothing. Might have a bad jumper. Yeah. So I've tried a ton of different things behind the scenes. And this is just not working out either. So I don't know what the heck's going on. And so that's, instead of like chasing it down, that's why I just wanted to maybe just swap the board. Check against a ground pin, not a GPIO pin. Okay. Let's see. Where's a ground pin? Okay, there's an unused ground pin, like a VIA right there. Turn this back on. And then we'll check at our 24 volt right there. I mean, I'm seeing it now. Good call, Steve. Don't let out the magic smoke. Yeah, try my best. For giggles, check V positive at wire in. Now, Steve had the good solution here. So I am seeing 24 volt at the jumper. See at the fan. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm seeing 24 volt at the fan now. Maybe that's why I had it wrong. So it is working, but why is it not spinning the fan then? I'm super confused. Okay, so not the board. Steve saved the day there just with that little tip. Config problem, it could be. Also, don't do 19 extra volts. Yeah. Hey, 3D Medic Vince. This is why we bring the hive mind in. I could not figure this out yesterday. But before we get too much further, I want to secure this back. And because we need to do stuff anyway, went ahead and stop that. We're going to shut down the printer. And I'm going to power off just so that we don't let out 19 extra volts. Goofy pins on that one. Config prob. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go through it and maybe you guys catch something that I'm not seeing. But I went through this for about 4 hours yesterday trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I just couldn't get there. So we definitely have power. While I'm at it, I'm going to remove this spare fan sitting up here and reconnect the original fan. Dude, these are so tight. I forgot to silence my phone today. I'm getting all sorts of texts. I'll do that here in a second. Okay, so everything is connected correctly. Things are good. Got our in stops, okay. Connected, reconnected, tight. And so this is, you could see the tool head movement here. This is me just twisting it a little bit. That's what Reth was talking about when we were looking at input shaper. You could see how much that wobbles with just a little bit of tool head force. I'm not really cranking on it. I'm just getting a little bit of wiggle. And so that's why you're seeing the Y-shaper graphs the way that we see them. Again, not meant to be a super crazy machine, just meant to be different. Okay, that is that. Let's get some more power back here. Get you back to a normal position. Left side is looking at the screen. 24 volt should be the top pin. Not going to get away from that with the smooth dowels. Yeah, I don't think so either. Steve, are you suggesting that we have pins in the wrong direction? I understood negative to be on top, according to the Nighthawk stuff. Let's take a look at that schematic once more. So I'm looking at GPIO 6, which is what's in my config. Negative on top, positive at the bottom. Double checking, you know, in real life, negative is at the top on both pins. Positive on the bottom, both pins. So the wiring is correct. The voltage, now that I know how to do this correctly, the voltage is correct. So GPIO 06. All right, if I come in here, let's reconnect this. Look at the printer config. Go back to our fan section. GPIO 06. If I put a 06 in here, it's going to yell at me. Good morning, zombie. Very poor diagram on the left side one. Pick says bottom, though. What do you mean? Oh. But I mean, it's the same over here. It's just pointing to the port. And the housing of this connection is the same direction, which implies that the pins are the same direction as well. I mean, I've connected everything else, like this hot end thermistor, which doesn't really matter. I'm trying to find a good example. I don't know. You know, just your confusion. Never mind, it's fine. Just unclear docs. Okay. Yeah. I don't understand. Like it just won't. And then so I get the error GPIO 06 is not correct, but in the diagram it says 06. So when I correct it back to just a normal 6, it doesn't want to connect. Well, to connect, sorry, not the right word. It connects. It doesn't want to turn the fan on. So probably a config thing, but I don't have a good reference to bounce that off of. NH36. Let me just make sure the MCU is named correctly, because if it's the wrong MCU, it also will not work. Where are we? Temp sensor. Yeah, so it's named NHK. NHK there. Probably a bad FET on the board. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Something unrepairable. Because we're getting voltage everywhere. That's why I was super confused. Like, I knew I had it correct. I checked it 3, 4, 5 times. So at this point, I think we're going to have to swap the entire Nighthawk out if we want that to work. Steve, if you know, would that also affect my probe? Because my probe doesn't want to trigger either. I mean, I wouldn't think so because it's just a ground and a signal. But no matter what, it's not working. Take in H36 from another printer. Yeah, we could do that. I don't know that we need to because just out of frame here, I've got another Nighthawk And I can steal it out of here. This is a Rev C Plus, which is the newest version. And so we could just swap it with this one. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe I'll throw it back in this box, try to return it as bad, and then just buy a new one. Because this is just a brand new kit, like unopened. I opened it. I had this saved for the simple core build that we will get to at some point after this guy. And yeah, I mean, if things don't work, things don't work. So, okay, let's shut this guy down so we can power down and proceed with swapping out the board. Thanks for all the troubleshooting help, folks. But I think we're toast. Power this off. Disconnect here. Okay. Let's cut some zip ties. I was trying to avoid this. And realistically, had I had a confirmation that it was the Nighthawk, I probably would have swapped it out yesterday. Ooh, I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you're unaware, West 3D now has those Prusa, those Prusa arms, so like the metal bracket arms that you can find on the Core 1. And I got one of those and just mounted it to the 2020 up here for the Trident, where the umbilical comes out of the corner, and that's what I'm using for my strain relief now. Felt it was much better than the alternative that I was planning to use, and so far it works pretty well. Very stable, strong. I mean, there's some movement in it vertically, but it swings very nicely. All right, so that's that. Let's see what else we can take off. What I want to do is be careful when I'm removing all of these connections so that I don't break a wire, because then I got to get into a tight spot on a short wire and try to remove that. So I'm using my flush cutters to just grab the edge of the connection itself and not the wire, and just pull that out. Hard to do on a motor, but easier with your fingers. Before you do that, can you just try the other board? I am trying the other board. I use the one from Printables that works amazing for that on your V2. Yeah, so I've got that same one deeply on my, let's see, it's on my Trident 350 and my Voron V2 and my 3030 V2. I've got it on those printers, but I saw it as an option and I needed to buy stuff anyway, so I just got one to try it out. I think they're like $12, so they're pretty affordable for what it is. It's just either laser cut or, I don't know, pressed. Yeah, pressed and bent steel brackets. All right, so I'm gonna just swap these one by one here. Put that in there. The hardest one is probably the, heater wires, because those are kind of tucked up under. Those are really hard to get at. Sorry, I know you guys are chatting. I can hear you. I just need to focus for a second. Difficult to get those 3 pins out of there, but they're too small for my fingers and too big for the flush cutter to grab on the edge. So this may be, let's try it now. Morton tweaked that design. It's what you're using on the index Trident. Oh, the swing arm? Is that what you mean, Steve? Just can't get some needle nose out here. Try not to destroy the connector either. That's the hard part. I don't know why these things are always so tight. Jeez. Trying not to pull on the wire, but I think we have to. And if we break it, then we break it. Yep, we broke it. Whatever. We'll crimp on some new ones. And then 2 heater wires. He's the one that modified the Prusa design. West 3D selling it. Yeah, I like it so far. I grabbed 2 of them. One for one of the other builds. Yeah, here we go. This guy. So it just comes in a kit like that in a bag, and a couple of roll-in nuts with some hardware. Yeah, it's super cheap, very very good. I like it. All right, top off the caffeine there. Get our shorty driver. Remove this guy. Stay. And this one we can just throw across the room. That. And I'll grab a small flathead. Take these out. You got your 3rd tool head functional in your stealth changer this week. Steve's stream last week was exceptional. It'd be good one to bookmark for reference. Oh, I bookmark a lot of Steve's stuff, if I'm honest. That configuration part is tough, especially on something as complex as a stealth changer. I think what I'll have to do is also flash the new one with Calico. I'm just taking a look to see if there's anything obviously wrong with the board, like a burnt chip or something like that. I know there are a lot of small components that I probably can't see very well, but I don't see anything obvious that would lead me to believe that the board was bad. And it is a Nighthawk 1.4, which is the most updated one. Oh, you guys are going to West 3D? That's cool. I wish I lived that close. Okay, so let's bring these out this time. Let's connect the heater wires first. I know it's probably hard to see. Doing this first just because of access. Trying to come in from the bottom on any of this stuff is not going to work out well. Gonna loosen these up. Okay. Quick 20-minute drive. Lucky. I wish there was something close like that. I mean, I think the best that we have is Micro Center, which is great for a lot of reasons, but it's not geared towards 3D printing, although they have a lot of filament selection and they do sell 3D printers and some accessories for them. but it's not a dedicated distributor. I wish that was different, but whatever. All right, it's one, and get the other screw here. Micro Center is something you don't have. You used to have fries. Yeah, we don't have any fries either. But Micro Center is like 2.5 hours away for us. It's down near LA. The closest one is Tustin. And then next closest is Santa Clara. Both in Southern California there. That guy. And then that guy. We'll make some new connections on him. This guy goes here. All right, so hot end fans are, part cooling fans are at 24 volt, hot end fans at 24 volt. Our probe is at 5 volt. Doesn't really matter because it's a clicky, but something to note. This is XN stop, and then this is other part cooling fan. There. Sorry, my head's in the way. I'm just trying to see what I'm doing here. TH0 is over here on the right. And then that means XN stop is one of those two that I don't remember. So we'll have to check out the schematic. XN stop is lower 2-pin connection. Okay. XN stop is lower 2-pin connection right here. We'll have to remake the connection for the clicky there. So let me grab some of these things. All right, so here's our 3-pin. And then I need crimps. These are way too small. These will work. There we go. Okay. Same thing as before. Yeah, luckily we had this extra board in stock, or I'd be hosed today. I'd have to be ripping it out of another printer somewhere just to continue this build. I have a feeling the wife's going to pop out here pretty soon. I know she's got to go to work today. So we may pause the stream for a couple minutes so I can say bye to her. This is why you don't want to do wiring inside the printer. It's usually tight and hard to see. So if you could, remove your tool head, work on it on the workbench. I just really wanted to use A5T on this. Good morning, Pat Racer. Calico should see Clipper firmware fine. You test functionality prior to reflashing the firmware. Yes, it should see it just fine. But I did have to flash it on the last one. It's not difficult, it just takes some time. Double checking the schematic over here. Like we said, using GPIO 10, ground is up top, probe is in the center. So I just need the upper two most ports on this rightmost 3-pin connection. So we'll do one in the center, one in the top, like so. And then press that into place. Like that. Great. So looks good to me. Everything is good. We can add our USB-C on top. And I'm probably going to secure that with a zip tie again, so I don't forget. And yeah, I'm using orange zip ties to add a pop of color to certain areas. Okay. Now we can just go boop and throw that in the trash. All right. So it looks like we are swapped out. Just double checking everything. Motor's in. We have a connection to the USB, fan, thermistor, both heater wires, probe, XN stop. I forget what that one is. Y? No, it's not Y. Hot end fan and other part cooling fan. Okay. Looks like we've got it. Nothing on the bed. Clicky probe is stowed. Let's see what happens. Let's get some power back. All right. Seeing green lights. That's good. Let's go back to our Chrome here. See if we're talking to one another. Probably need a new USB code as well. Come on, baby, you can do it. Hey, there we go. All right, so I like Fluid, and I think Mainsail can do this as well. But there's this Devices button up top, and if I go to the USB tab and click Refresh, I can see all the different USB devices connected. And really all I need for the new Nighthawk, because it uses that RP2040 chip, that tells me that's probably my Nighthawk. What I need is this serial number here. And then what I can do is I can come down to my Nighthawk section and just replace the serial number with the new one. Save and restart. See if they talk to one another. Hey, FM, what are you trying to say? Yeah, so this is what I was talking about here. It has firmware compiled for Clipper, recommended to reflash for best compatibility. Will still work, like, who was that saying that? AFM was saying that it should still work, yes. But I'm using the high precision stepper, so we're gonna have to flash it regardless. Not too terrible though. If we go into the README, excuse me, man, this Red Bull's got me burping. Where is the LDO page? Walks me through it. Maybe this one? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so from here, it'll give me all the information I need for hardware setup and this. Okay, so we'll have to get back into SSH. But at least you can test functionality. I should be able to. We could do that really quickly. Let's drop you. Come over here. I don't think it'll allow the MCU to boot though without this, with this error up here. The warning would be fine, but with the error, you can see nothing is going to work. Finally done with errands. Have to go back and watch earlier. Yeah, no worries, Gerg, man. That helps out with the algorithm anyway. Yeah, these things go live maybe an hour after they are streamed. So we are going to have to flash. No problem. Just jump in here. Close this guy. And then we could do... let's see. Esoterical USB flashing guide. Make this a touch smaller so you can see what's going on. Calico versus Clipper. Yes, yes, yes. Well, so not necessarily the config, just the way that I had done it. What's up? You leaving?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
drowning.
Okay.
Good job.
1 second. All right. We're good. Cool. So USB Clipper, can't even speak today. Let's go. So we're going to use a 2040 chip because it is for the Nighthawk. We want to make sure we have all the correct information. So I know that we're good. I just did all this yesterday. So it's probably going to return no updates, which is fine. It's always a good practice to make sure. Something could have came out overnight that I'm unaware of. So what are you guys thinking? Do you want more of the SSH picture or do you want more of the instructions? Because I can zoom this out a little bit here. We can do one of these deals. And then also I can go and do this for my own sanity. All right, so that's up to date. And then we could do an upgrade. Let's make this a touch smaller since we increased the font size. Definitely need another screen. Cool. So like I said, nothing to upgrade. And then we'll just make sure that Python is good to go with the last command. And it's already new. So we are set. So installing Catapult via RPi boot mode. First, you need to clone the Catapult repo onto your Pi. Run the following commands to clone or to update the repo. So we can do this just to update, make sure we have the latest Catapult info, and we're good to go there. And so now it'll just be a change directory to Catapult. What is happening? Stop it. No, that's not what I want. Paste. There we go. Change directory to Catapult. And then from here, we can do a make menu config. Going back over to our, what is it? The Nighthawk info. I'll try to bring this down so you can see. So that's the Clipper one. This is the catapult stuff right here. Try to get both on screen. There we go. We want to flash our RP2040. Like I said, I've been in here doing this recently, so that's already set. 2040 on the processor model, and then we need that W25 Q80. I'm not going to build deployment. Communication is USB, USB ID. If I take that off of there, we can use a name, I think. So a USB serial number, we can number it whatever we would like. So we'll just call it Nighthawk 36. And escape that one. Okay. GPIO pins, nothing to do. Let's see, support bootloader, yes. Enable bootloader, no. Status LED is GPIO 8 with a exclamation point in the front. So that should be a good config there. Quit that, yes. And then just to be sure, we'll do a make clean to remove any old stuff in there, and then we'll just do a make. That's also in the instructions over here on the LDO documentation. So back in the esoterical instructions, it says compile the firmware with the make, and right there, and we've already done that. And so to flash, we have to connect our board to the Pi. It already is. And then put the board into boot mode. To put the board into boot mode, we come back over here and it says in the LDO docs to press and hold reset and boot 0, release reset first, and then release boot 0. I like to hold it for 5 seconds or so, just to be sure. So cool, we have our firmware made. Let me put this into bootloader mode. So reset and boot at the same time. Release reset, hold boot for 5 seconds, and then release it. And then we can do over in our shell here, we can do LSUSB. There it is. So Raspberry Pi 2 in boot mode. That's what we're looking for. And then I can flash the firmware to my main board by running basically this command. Make flash, flash the device. We're going to pull down this serial number from the Raspberry Pi, and then that's there. So once we hit enter, resetting, erasing, flashing, and then rebooting, that happens pretty quick. That's part of the guide. And then now I should have catapult, so we can pull down this other command, and we see that we have a catapult called Nighthawk 36 device. So that tells me that I have catapult on there. Now we have to do Clipper. And so we'll go back to the home directory with just a CD. We'll copy in the stop Clipper service, and then we'll go to Clipper itself. So in the Clipper folder, we can do the same process again. So I'll make menu config. And looking at the device on the LDO website, go back up to our Clipper config here, and it matches what I'm seeing in MobaX terms. So we get the RP2040 with that processor model here, 16 kilobytes USB. We'll make the USB ID different. So we'll not use this. We're going to use a name, and we'll call it Nighthawk 36, just like before. Optimize on both edges, GPIO, yes. And then we're going to use high precision stepping support. because that's what Clipper was yelling at us about earlier. So that's good. Quit, yes. Just like before, we'll do the make clean to remove any other config files, and then we can build that out. Hey, Nozzle Clog. Good morning. Shouldn't take too long. There we go. All done with that. And so to flash this one, we have to do the same thing. Let's see. You can now flash Clipper to your board using the catapult serial ID. All right, so what I like to do is just copy the command over and then delete this last bit all the way up to that first slash mark. Scroll back up where we had the catapult stuff before and just copy by highlighting only. So right click and highlight. Sorry, left click and highlight, and then you right click down below and it's going to paste that automatically. There it goes. Flashing can flash success is what we're doing. And so now when we do the serial ID, we should see 2 Clipper items, and we do. We want to copy this one just by highlighting, and then we can come over to our fluid config, back into where our Nighthawk is, and we'll just copy in the new stuff there. Save and restart. This should take us right into like normal. We shouldn't have any more errors. Just to be sure. Okay, so we did that. We got the things and stuff. Oh, we got to start the Clipper service. That's what I forgot. So don't forget, like I did, to start here. So we'll come back into this. Mobile Xterm, paste. And then we can do it up here just to be sure. And that should allow us to connect. And we're already good to go. Look at that. Didn't take too long. Maybe 10, 15 minutes to flash that over. That's why USB is nice. Great. So everything should be configured as before. Now let's see if our fans work, because that was the problem we were trying to solve. So here we go. Fingers crossed. Oh, they work. There's something going on. It's like clicking or something in one of the fans. I think you can probably hear that, but they are working now. That's good. Turn that off before my ears die. Yeah, there's something on the fan that's clicking on the housing. Maybe it's the way I connected it or something. We'll have to check it out here. So bring this up. Yeah, so definitely the board being the problem there. Okay, so yeah, the fan when it spins is like hitting inside the housing. So maybe I loosen this or tighten this. Let's see. Let's try to turn that on just a little bit. Let's see if we loosen it, does that help? Yeah, sure does. Maybe it's just a little tight. It's deforming the plastic just enough for it to make contact on the housing. So there, that's much better. No noise. And going to 100. We've got a 5T air. Yeah, baby. Now you wonder if reconnecting the other one works. Oh, it better not. I'm gonna repackage this. I'm gonna repackage this one and return it. And just give them a heads up that it's broken out of the box. Cool. That's one problem solved. Let's see if we got Clicky working. If not, then maybe it's wiring or something to do with the magnets. Just want to update, bring it down a little bit, and we can do That. Considering swapping A5 to your Trident seems ideal. Yeah, Zombie, do it. I mean, when you talk about big fans like this, you're always going to have better cooling than 4010s just based on size. But you have to worry about the width. This is pretty wide. It should work on the Trident. I have a little bit of an issue with the front. So you can see here, maybe this way is a little better. So this rear screw on here contacts the XY joiners on mine. I don't know how far off the top of my head the Trident sticks out, but I'm losing about 15 millimeters of X travel because I'm using A5T instead. Yeah, this is the first time I've used 50-15 fans in a while outside of a stove burner. The only downside of A5T is you're limited on the amount of tool heads you can use. I'm sorry, the hot ends you can use. There's support for tube and Rapido, I believe, or Dragon. I don't remember off the top of my head. This is running a mini tube, so there's a mini tube in here. All right, let's try this again. New install on the probe. There we go. That should be good. Let's see if I can trigger this. Yeah, it is tube compact, mini tube. So tube compact and Rapido, I think, is what it supports. We could take a look here in a second. I really want to just make sure my clicky is working or not. So holding that, let's refresh in stops. Hey, look at that. Oh, it had me for 2 seconds there. It showed open. Triggered. Clicky's still not working. That's sad. And so because this is built the way that it's built, I hope it doesn't have to do with magnet contact. Like, it's really difficult to see on the printer if those magnets are actually touching. So I'm trying to move it while doing this to see if it's just magnets or if it's actually wiring. I don't even know how to do this. All right, that's frustrating. We can't do anything without this, so I think that's probably the next thing we need to work on is solving this clicky probe scenario. Did I remove the invert flag? I did not. I can. So it's not an invert, it's a pull-up is what I added. So I'll show you here. So it's a pull-up. Save and restart. Cool, we can try it again. Let's see. Still triggered, which is what we want to see. Now, if I try this again, let's see, just really ensure those magnets are touching as I trigger this. My mouse is so far away. Ugh. Yeah, still not happening. So it's either the wiring in the carriage, which means I have to take the whole hot end off, or it's the wiring in the probe itself. Before we go too far, I want to double check. Pin out. Where's the pinout? Here we go. So on here, probe is GPIO 10 using the probe port. You can close this guy. And let's make sure that that's the one I'm using. I'm pretty sure I am. but never know. Yep, so Nighthawk GPIO 10. Can I put a bang in front of the config? Yeah, we can try it out. Yeah, I'm willing to try just about everything. I'm not against trying things before we rip into things. We could do that. And what I should see is that this is open, and that's true. So we just took the logic from one to the other. So it is open. And let me trigger now. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I got this on there correctly. So got it triggered. And it's still, when I refresh, not changing. Now jumper the pins or trigger it. Yeah, so I'm triggering it right now with my hand. And I got nothing. So I think we break out the multimeter again and take a look at some options. Beat you to it. Yeah, I think we're on the same wavelength. Just want to get a pretty decent shot of what we're working on. Okay. Break out Big Johnny here. And we'll put him around this lead screw. That should give you a good view of what's going on. And let's go like, hold on, let me move this camera a little bit. There we go. So what I'm going to do first is just make sure that I'm getting continuity between the two magnets on the probe itself. And so let's go to, is the fan working? Yes, yes. Fan is working now. It was the board. So fan is good to go. So magnet to magnet, getting some continuity there. Okay. If I go pin to pin, come on. Pin, fingers work. Pin to pin. My hands just don't want to do this today. I got an idea. I'm not going to fight with this. OmniFixo. And hold this guy for me. Let's get off the button. There we go. Okay. So I should see continuity. And I do. And then when I press the key, where's the button? I break the signal. So it's not the switch. So I have continuity, you could probably hear it, and then trigger, and it goes away. Let it go, it should be triggered. So that tells me I need to have the invert gone. So the invert needs to go away in the printer config because I want it to say triggered normally. And then once it connects, it should be open. I think that's correct. Or no, am I thinking about that backwards? I think I might be. Anyway. Let's hook it to the filament sensor GPIO. We could try it. We could try it. I want to test continuity between the actual toolhead bits as well. So I want to move the bed down a little bit. Can you see the config again? Sure. So there's my probe config. Remember, I am using Calico, so I could use dockable probe, but dockable probe doesn't like the macros that are included in the clicky macros. And they're written in such a way that it would take me a lot of brain power and I'd go down a super rabbit hole having to rewrite all of them to make it work. So in lieu of that, I'm sticking to normal probe versus dockable probe. So any questions about it there, Cybertech? It looks correct to me. What's in the probe set to under Z? Probe set to under Z. Sorry, right here. So I'm using the end stop so that I can do auto Z calibration. So I started doing some of that yesterday. That's why you see the in stop position and the position min not at 0. So there is an in stop pin for the nozzle, and then that same thing will trigger on the housing body of the clicky probe when we get that working. I just can't get the probe to trigger is the problem. It won't change state right now. And I don't think it is the probe pin itself. I think it unfortunately might be the wiring in the housing, which is a huge pain. I mean, taking the tool head off, it should just come off in one solid block. I'm not really worried about that so much. It's just the wiring inside of the tool head itself is very much not easy to get at. Jumpering the pins on the board should eliminate the wires. Jumpering the pins on the board. I'm glad you're not the only one having issues with the Nighthawk. Having issues with your Stealth Burner version, thinking about just dumping it and replacing it with a regular. Gergman, yeah, what challenges are you seeing? Mine, the fans wouldn't spin. So I don't think this is a Nighthawk thing. In this case, the fan issue that I had, definitely at the Nighthawk. Jumpering the pins on the board at the Nighthawk should eliminate the wires. Are you talking like connecting them together? Can't run the fans when the LED is hooked up? Oh, really? Can't run the fans when the LED is hooked up. Interesting. I'm trying to think through that one. Can't run the fans when the LED is hooked up. That shouldn't matter. LEDs are on 5 volt and your fans are on 24. So I don't see why that is the case unless it's a config issue. Yeah, mine was just, it would not, mine just would not turn the fans on whatsoever. And so Steve was in the chat earlier and he suggested that it might be a MOSFET. So when the fans get triggered to on, they're just not coming on. So that's a board thing. That's not a config thing. We verified that several ways. So I'm just going to return that one. It's fine. Focus on your problems. No, it's good. I mean, this is a community hangout stream. So all of my streams, if you have questions and want to talk about a little bit of troubleshooting, I have no issues with that. These projects are projects. Yeah, with yours, Gergman, I don't know that it's the board. It's hard to understand why that would be the case. But again, I'm not an electrical engineer. Let's try out what Cybertech's talking about here. Let's see if we can jumper this. And you just want me to connect these 2 pins at the board together, and then what are we looking for when we do that? I hate these. Ooh, I don't want to cuss, but man, I'd want to cuss. These pins or these connections always just the worst to try and remove. They're just so tight on the Nighthawk. That's my one complaint. I wish we would just not use these tiny connections and use the big JSTs instead of the little ones. Change in state of the probe and clipper. Jose from LDL. Reach out to me after the stream so I can see about. So hey, thanks, Jose. I'll do that. I appreciate you. Do I have your contact info? Or do you want me to message you? How can I get in contact with you? I'm sorry. I don't know how. All right, so I have that pulled off. Do you just want me to put a jumper on it? Is that what you're asking me to do there, Cybertech? Discord. Okay. I'll see if I can find you. Okay, I'll have to search for you somewhere. By jumping, it should trigger. Yes. Okay. So I've got a small jumper. I'm gonna add that on here. And you want me you said ground and GPIO? I think this. Let's see if I can get in here. I might have to get my tweezers out because my hands are too big. I need a smaller jumper. Send your request. Thanks, Jose. I'll check it out here in just 2 seconds. Gotcha. Yep, I will. I'll shoot you a message here in a second, and we can work something out. Thanks for being proactive and reaching out. This is like my. So luckily, I had a spare one sitting around for a different project. And I think I have like 6 Nighthawks. I love these things. This is literally the only one that I've had an issue with. So good product most of the time. And it sounds like great customer service too. So we'll see. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, I have them jumpered. Get out of here and back over here. So it shows triggered. No change. Jose's the bomb. Yeah, I've not talked to Jose before. So I'm excited to make a new contact. With the jumper on it, should show not triggered. Okay. So it should be open. It is not showing open. Let me make sure I put it on the right pin, because that can happen. Okay, yeah. So these are, I'm jumpering the upper 2 pins here, and it's still showing triggered. It's got to be in the config somewhere. Okay. Well, let's go through it. So that's something else. That's our end stop. Okay, so this is our Nighthawk pin. I mean, the inversion here should make it triggered. GPIO 10. I don't know where else that would be used. If you have any ideas, I'll take it. GPIO 10. Just for now, comment out the end stop pin and enable virtual. So I had the same idea yesterday. That's why I have the commented out version of that, because I was playing around with that yesterday. But we can try it. See what happens. Yeah, position end stop is not valid, so I need to remove the end stop pin. This guy. This is why I like Fluid, because if I were in mainsail right now, it would take me to the top of the list and I'd have to scroll back down to the thing that I just recently changed. So like right now I've got this Z calibration thing I need to comment out, and it takes me right back to where we were working instead of all the way at the top where I'd have to scroll halfway down the page just to get to where I want it to be. Calibrate Z not found in G-code macro. Okay, so we'll come over here to our start print. Comment this guy out. Yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole. Calibrate Z not found in G-code macro rename. What in the world? I don't even know where to find that. Calibrate Z? Is there another one? Oh, this one here. So comment that. Yeah, this is always a rabbit hole when you're dealing with firmware. This may lead us to the problem. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Sweet. Okay. So good to go. Let's check the in stop again. Z is triggered and probe is triggered. So what do I do now? We test out the clicky. Let's put the probe back on here. Trigger that. Remove the jumper. Okay. Jumper removed. Hey, look at that. You're so smart. Cybertech saving the day. Okay, so we think it works. I've got the probe on there. Let me trigger this thing manually. Still doesn't work though. Oh, because it's not plugged in. We have to actually plug in the probe to make the probe work. Imagine that. I'm half tempted to like cut these retention knobs or whatever off of here. So it'll make it easier to take this out in the future because these things are so tight. Yeah, take those off. If it becomes loose, I'll put some hot glue on it or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's much better. That went in there easier too. There's just two little nibs on the bottom of the connection that act as a retention mechanism. I just snip those off. Okay, probes on the printer. Let me trigger this with my finger. Nothing. Nothing. It is definitely in config. Okay. I don't know what to do about that. Let's check out variables. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Well, it's also in the wiring, if not triggering. Yeah, so I think it's you dislike Clicky. I don't blame you. Clicky was great before we had Beacon and Cartographer, but now that we have those, there's really no reason not to use it. Triggers with jumper. Well, it is also in the wiring. Triggers with the jumper. Yeah, triggers with the jumper, so the board is working fine. That's what that tells me. I didn't think that it was the board, especially after we swapped. So it might be in the wiring in the tool head. that there's just not a connection somehow, which is possible, right? It's always possible. Yeah, I don't see anything in the config that would make it not work. Both config issue and wire issue. Ugh. Well, I don't know what the config issue would be, considering there's nothing in the config. Yeah, board works. That's the good one. It saves me $45. We have about 30 minutes or so left on stream today. So before we get too far down the rabbit hole, I know a lot of folks want some filament, and because Jose is helping us out, he's from LDO. We'll give LDO some love and give away some LDO filament. How's that sound? If you guys have not gone into the description and signed up for the filament giveaway, you need to do that. When you did a continuity test on the probe, did you also try it while pressing the switch? Yes. Yes. So we had continuity untriggered and then lost continuity when we triggered. So can't be the in-stop either. I'm on board with what Cybertech is saying and believing that it's probably in the wiring that goes from the toolhead board itself to the initial magnets in the carriage. I think that's where it is. And that's just me being just process of elimination. So something between the probe, the clicky probe, and the board, and the only thing between there is wiring and magnets. So it's got to be in there. So before we pull this tool head off and try to chase that down, we'll do a little bit of a giveaway. So I'm seeing 35 folks in the giveaway so far. If you're not in there, you got like a minute or so. So it works as a virtual. Now to get it to work in conjunction with in-stop and probe. Yeah, makes sense. So Cybertech, I don't know, man. I don't think it works as a virtual because it doesn't change state. So config-wise, I think that the config is correct. I don't think it's that. In my brain, it really is the wiring. But the only way to be able to get in there and do that is to remove the tool head. It does with the jumper. Yes, it does with the jumper. You're right. It does with the jumper. So again, that tells me firmware is probably correct. It's something in between. 36 responses. Okay. Keep going, folks. If there are other people that are hanging out and not in the giveaway, you need to get in there. There are 45 people watching. Is the clicky wired to GPIO and ground? Yes, it is. It is wired to GPIO and ground. So the upper pin and the middle pin. The lower pin is power. You don't need power for a clicky. So yeah, we're on the same page thinking it through. For me, it's probably a continuity thing with the wiring. Because there are magnets. You have two portions of your carriage that slide together to make one big carriage, kind of like you would see on a Voron Stealth burner carriage, where you have two individual printed parts that you sandwich together. This one's the same way, but when you sandwich, there are two pockets for magnets, right? And those magnets have wires that connect. So that's why I say it's a huge deal if it is in that area, because not only do I need to pull the tool head off, but now I may have to pull the whole carriage off, which means belts come off, gantry comes out, carriage comes apart, just to check the wires to put it all back together. So this is probably like an hour at least of work to do it. Probably closer to an hour and a half if we're still streaming. I don't know that I want to do all that work on stream, but we did find out some of the issues. So that's the positive. Cool. So I think we're going to close the giveaway now. We are at a place where we've got as many as we got. So 39 responses. Excuse me. Let me pull all your names. Looks like Kegel was the first one in. And last person, who's our slacker? Rodney Shumway waited till the last minute. RS Makes. Last minute Sally over here. All right, let me close this giveaway. Where'd it go? There it is. Let's close. And giveaway's closed. Let me pull your names over into Wheel of Names. Give me a second to get set up. And then you know how it works. I need numbers so that we know how many times to shuffle this thing. Thanks for the sub, Austin. Seven, 6, 27. LTX, you know what? I like 27 today. Timur, hey, I didn't even know you were here. Good morning. Gergman is 2. Gorilla Biscuits is back. Hey, Gorilla Biscuits, what did you make with your winnings that we got you before? I know that you're a recent winner. Tulsa Skin, same question. Thanks for the sub, Khalid.
Since I don't actually play or win matches, I can't pick a personal favorite.
75?
Is a timeless classic. Its intricate gold design and legendary status make it a top-tier choice.
Camara's always coming through with the day of the week. Why are you talking to me, phone? So I need to put this thing on Do Not Disturb. I meant to do that earlier. You have not opened it yet. 125. Oh, you're killing me. I'll tell you what, let's go with, what did Cybertech say? Sorry, not Cybertech. Cybertech said 42, because that's always the answer. LTX is hooking us up with a back panel for this project. It's only nice that we choose his number. So we'll go with Cybertech's suggestion of 27 and shuffle that many times. 10, 20, 27, spin. Still thinking on what to make with it. Me too, obviously, right? Still figuring out what I want to make with all this. Ooh, Skyrim. Skyrim, are you here? I like to think that you were up there gassing up our boys. A lot of my friends are. A lot of my friends are up there gassing up our boys. And that's why I say it's been a tough week for a lot of reasons. Put the pics in the Discord. Yeah, always. If you print something with the filament, throw it in the Discord. Show us what you're making. Skyrim. Looking for Skyrim. You're about 50 seconds. 50 seconds. Yeah, Sissy Kid's so close. Skyrim, gotta tag me. Hey, Clownhammer, didn't realize you were here. There you are. Fantastic. Skyrim. So what's going to happen is I'm going to send your email over to Jason and the team at LVO. They're going to reach out to you for your address. The quicker you respond to them, the quicker you get filament. Let them know your address, what color you want, and what type, that kind of thing. And if they don't reach out to you, it means that I probably forgot to send your information over. So just reach out to me and I'll fix myself. Sound good? Like always, the rule is when you win filament and you make something with it, please share it in the Discord channel so that we can all see. Congratulations. All right, how much do I want to tear this down? Somebody just jumped in the Discord. Who was that? Sorry, I got super distracted here. People messaging a lot. Got it. Sweet. If you have any questions, again, just reach out to me. All right, back to this thing. I don't know another way. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's. I got one more idea. Let me move the bed down on this thing. So I don't think I can home all right now because it won't work. So what I can do is, I think I set up a macro to help me move stuff. Where unsafe move tool. Okay, so let's move Z. Let's go -50 here. Oh, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. Whew, that was close. That was close. Restart. Restart. So not -50, +50. You need that macro? Yeah, no worries. I can drop it to you. It's a very simple macro. I can show it to you as well. That way you have the copy and paste version and the visual version. So all I did was come in and did a unsafe move tool. So without homing, it's just basically a set kinematic position for any of the different axes you want to move, and then it disables at the end. But I can drop this to you in a Discord message. And for anybody that wants it, I'll put it in my Discord under Clipper Macros. And you can find it in my Discord channel. Just posted that for you. You're welcome. Okay, so let's go back to this unsafe move tool, not a negative. We want to go +50 here. Let's remove our clicky probe so I don't break it. And let's try that. Take this off of here. Okay, so what I want to do is just create some space to be able to get up under here. And this is the last verification I can do. And let's see if we have continuity of the 2 pins that are connected underneath. So we should hear beeping if these work well. And I'm not hearing any beeping because they are not triggered. So I'll come back over to my config. And let's see if we can make them triggered by removing this. And now see if this will do it. Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay, so let's do a pull up on it and see if that'll work. See if we can pull it high. So it works when I touch them together. So we know we're good there. Let's try. See if there's anything. Nothing. Nothing in the wiring. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I assumed, because this serves just like the jumper, right? If I'm thinking about this correctly, that if the pins are connected, I should see continuity down below. So I'm touching the wiring itself and I'm touching the magnets. Neither one is getting continuity. Do I need the probe attached to be able to do that? I don't think I need the probe attached. And we can attach it real quick. So probe's on. Probe's on. Let's see if I can get in behind here. Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. Otherwise, those two wires never touch. Probe needs to be triggered for continuity. Really? Let's check it out. So, probe is triggered. The switch, when triggered, would create continuity. So it's triggered right now. Okay, let's try it. Let's see how many fingers I can work at the same time. I'm just trying everything I can think of to not have to tear into the tool head here. All right, so I'm getting continuity now, but that's just on the probe itself. And so when I connect that, though, of course I'm going to get continuity because it's touching the magnets of the probe itself, like this, right? And so I don't have a good way of, I mean, I guess I could check up here at the tool head side of things. Nothing. So that's the thing. I think there's something going on. Is it still triggered when the probe is out? Yes, it is still triggered when the probe is out. So here, I'll remove the probe. And then we can refresh our end stops. Still triggered. Stick meter in the plug. Measure for continuity with probe triggered. Can you test from the connector to the magnet? Yes. Yes. All right. So one at the connector. One at the magnet. Good on that wire. Good on the opposite wire. Okay, good call there, Jose. Helping out already. I appreciate you. So it looks like the wiring is fine down to the magnets on the tool head. I'm getting continuity all the way down. But for some reason, when we attach the probe, either there's not enough magnet touching that is really difficult to see, which is a much easier fix, honestly, or yeah, so let me, all right, let's try this again. So I have it pressed up against magnets, triggering the probe. No in-state change here. Magnets aren't touching. You hate it when printers get triggered. Hey, Dave. Good morning. Or Terry, whichever one of you. Good morning. Yeah, so, all right, I think we've narrowed it down. Magnets from the board to the dock, to the carriage are good. Wiring from the carriage, I'll tell you what, let's spin it. It's easier if I see things. Turn this around. Bring this over. Okay. So from the connection to the carriage, good to go. We got continuity. Both wires, good to go. Both magnets on the clicky, good to go. Even when I trigger, I'm either making a connection or not. So that's good. The only thing the magnets aren't touching. That's the only thing I can think of, which is a bit of an easier fix. It's clicky NG, so there's just one small piece underneath that I can reprint and hopefully make work. And then if I needed to, I guess I could reprint this portion as well. I know there are different sizes for things. So we could check that out. I also need this to be open right now. Terry's still asleep. Yeah. My wife just left for work. We're early birds because our girls get up to go to school. All right, so I know that this should be open, so I need to remove whatever's here. This should definitely be a inversion. Everything should be open on our end stops. With the probe attached, can you test continuity from the bottom of probe to connector? Bottom of probe to connector. Bottom of probe. I don't know how I would do that. If there's not access from the bottom, unfortunately, Jose. Let me show you here. So in this is the bottom that touches the build plate. There's no way to access the magnets from the bottom because it's clicky NG. And so this is the only place I can access them is from the top. Yeah, I've not used clicky in like 3 years. Add a second magnet and see if it changes state. Good idea, Clownhammer. Let's try it. Let's try it. I got a couple magnets. Let me grab them. Let's try these right here. Yeah, I'm tracking. We'll stack them up. We'll stack them up. So we'll put this one in there. Jeez, come on. They don't want to lay flat. That's the problem. There we go. There's one. And there's the other. Okay, 2 magnets. And then we'll add our probe back on here. Goes this way. All right, definitely touching. It's hanging there. Look at that. Look at big brain on Clownhammer. Look at this. Triggered. If I pull it away, not triggered. So yeah, definitely magnets not touching. Uh-oh, we lost it. Oh, because they're not touching. There we go. Let's try that. I'm sure you checked, but are the magnets polarity? Yes, their polarity is good. The I don't think they're touching. I think there's just a gap. Because yeah, there it goes. It triggered. Triggered. Take the probe out. Untriggered. Push too far into the printed parts. Maybe, I mean, but that's the thing. I don't know how far they should go. I don't know how far they should go. Well, that's good to know. So what we can do is, I got to do this anyway. So let's spend the next, I don't know, we got 5 minutes till I push it to Steve, maybe 10 minutes. So let's pull this tool head off. And I need to reprint a part. There are, I'll show you what I mean. There are different parts in the clicky repo here. So just go into the clicky NG. There are a few different of these little bracket pieces here, if I remember right. And there are, what is it, the mount front maybe? Yeah, this guy here. This is a 3mm front mount, which is the one I think that I used. But there are other mounts as well. Go back up, what is happening? Anyway, I want to say there was a 4mm one. Maybe that is in the Legacy Fork repo. Gantry, clicky, probe, dock maybe? Dock mount? Nope, not that one. Probe dock? Not that one either. I remember there being a couple of different options. So maybe it's in this X carriage. Yeah, here it is. So there's this 2.7 one, and then there's the normal 3mm one that you would find in the normal clicky repo. I think this is the 3mm one I chose, and so I need to reprint one or both of these. So that's going to be the stopping point. I have to reprint the part. Yeah, it should be a quick fix. So that's the fix. But in the meantime, I'm going to yank this tool head off of here. So let's shut all this down. Thanks for all the troubleshooting help, folks. I was really worried about this one. Maybe one day we'll get this printing. So legit, I'm going to spend some time today. The wife is at work, so it's just me and the girls. I'm going to be out here for a little bit doing some of this stuff. I just got to run a couple errands, and then I'll be back out here trying to fix this. So next week, I don't want to jinx it, but next week, we should be printing. I'll put it out in the ether. At least it's not electronics, yeah. Well, it kind of was, Clownhammer. I'm not sure if you were here earlier. We had a bad Nighthawk board, which I've never seen that before. I have 6 of these, and this is the only one that I've ever seen that had an issue. And just got here for the ending. Yeah, sorry, Dan. Sorry. Yeah, I start early, man. I got to get it done. Usually the afternoons are, I got to run a few errands. So just the way that it is. Okay. That is apart. This is pretty easy to take apart. If you've ever used an A4T, it's similar. Where it's just a couple of screws, and this comes right off. Yeah, good to see you too, Dan. Good to see you too. So that, oh, and I got to remove our in stop, our X in stop here. Take that out. That should be the only thing connecting us to the rest of this. So we'll just remove these 4. And again, that's why this tool head's a little bit wobbly on the Y input shaping. You missed the handsome face? Hi. Washed out face. Yeah, there's a lot of late birds today, but I don't blame anybody. It's Sunday. You should be sleeping in. All right, then we got our probe wiring here. Comes out a lot easier than it did. Sweet. So tool head, not an issue. Comes off really easily. And then you have the 2 here that contact. What is happening up here? Oh, those don't connect. Oh, it's from something. Sorry, I got distracted there. I was looking at something else. Let's move this back a touch so I can let this down. Okay, just a couple of screws there to remove that guy. Oh, super small. Okay. We'll go super small. Forgot these are 2.5s. And I'll be able to tell which size I put in here. I had to glue them into the probe itself because they wanted to come out. The tolerance was just too loose. Didn't work well. Picked up a A1 Mini with AMS that next day that is in need of some love. Making my Nexus back with an A1 Mini. I thought about getting the wife one of those. Yeah, so I printed the 3mm version. You can see that possibly here. Focus. There it is. Yeah, so this is the 3mm version. I think I need the 2.7mm version. I feel like I had printed it before, and I might have tossed it. So I've got a bunch of spare extra stuff that I printed that I ended up not needing because the plan changed slightly throughout, and that little part is not in here, so I'm definitely going to have to reprint that. Luckily, it's a, I don't know, 30-minute maybe max print. What colors do I have loaded? Not the right ones. Oh well, we'll figure it out. All right. So definitely need to reprint that. I wonder if there's an option to, because I think 3mm is how far the magnet sticks out. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, like what that refers to. But certainly now, if I attach that, it would be, we'd get a continuity. Magnet thickness. Oh, okay. So printing a new one's not going to help me. Two of them and they work well. Bought both of them refurb. Where do you get a refurbished one though? I'm looking for, and I really want to do a nebula. I want to build a nebula. But I price things out, right? So the frame is one cost, the hardware is another, Micro Center. The, you know, all the other bits of pieces like the bed and all that kind of stuff, just, it adds up. It adds up for what should have been a Ender 5 conversion. Okay. So I'm thinking about like how to go about this to make a better connection. Truly 3mm thick, Jose? I'm not sure. Let's find out. Get the calipers out here. Zero that. Can you shim them so they are closer to the bottom? I don't think it's that they're closer. I think it's that they just aren't making contact. Like they're not sticking out far enough. All right, so let's see. 2.98 is what I'm showing. So I would take that as 3mm. 2.99 if I rotate it. 3 if I rotate it more. Yeah, I'd say that's 3mm thick. Can I shim them so they're closer to the bottom? I don't know if that's the issue, Clownhammer. So, like the issue I'm running into, right? So this mounts thusly, right? So if I flip it around, my magnets are here, right? Like so. And the issue that I'm seeing is when I grab the probe, only half of this magnet is sort of like sticking out, you know? And only half of that magnet is sticking out. And so what needs to happen is they should align, I guess one of these ways. I can put it in upside down. They should align and touch. But that's not happening. They should align and touch like that. But it's not for some reason. There's just not enough like magnet there to do it. So maybe I reprint all of these, remake the probe. I don't know. But I got to figure it out. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's not sticking out far enough to make the contact. So I got to figure that out. I'm not going to solve that today though, because that's some printing and some other things. But I will go ahead and call the stream, push you guys over to Steve so you can watch somebody actually finish a project for once. Can you make it thinner on the Z height? I could. I definitely could. We could. All right, so I got the part in my hand. What I could do is just shave off this top portion here so that the magnet is sticking out more and there's less of a lip. I could definitely do that. I could do that in a slicer. Always good to see you, Dan. Thanks for hanging out. I could always do that in a slicer and just cut off, you know, a millimeter or two and make it thinner there. That would definitely work. As long as the magnets touch, that's what I need. So I'll do that. I'll print a couple iterations of this piece. I will reprint these because you can see there's a little bit of glue on there because they would not stay into the probe, the magnets. And because the magnets wouldn't stay in the probe, I glued them. So these are probably a little too loose. Maybe I could touch this up in CAD as well. I'll get it working. I just need some time. I need some time indoors on the main PC to make it work. But I'll get there. Easy fix though. I'm glad we troubleshot that. And we did identify that the Nighthawk was not working well. So good stuff. All right, guys, if you just hang out on the stream for an additional 30 seconds or so, it'll push you automatically. YouTube will push you automatically over to Steve Builds, where he's working on his stealth changer. So it was great hanging out with everybody. Congrats to Skyrim for winning some LDO filament today. And thanks to LDO for always giving away 1 kilo spool of filament. Tim Talon, you're welcome so much. We'll catch you on the next one, which should be next Sunday. I think I have between now and an absolute break, I think I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more streams, 7 more streams before I have to take a month off. So plenty of time to do the stuff we need to do and maybe even work on something else. So all of you, thanks for hanging out. Sorry we couldn't get as far as we wanted to. Come April though, so starting 30 March until mid-April, I'm taking some vacation time, which means we're going to go hardcore on trying to stream more frequently, especially because after that, I need to take a month off. So sorry for being a little hit or miss. I don't have a choice. If you pay attention to the news and what's going on in the world, you'll know that times are tough for a lot of folks right now. So keep them in your hearts and minds. Be nice to one another, and we'll see you guys next week.